I have got somebody who was working in the fields from an immigrant mother to now owning a business that processes billions of dollars every single day from transactions and payment processing from some of the biggest companies in the world. I've got Moses Heredia. What's up, man?
Hey, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here, Ryan. I appreciate it, my man. Thank you.
Yeah, dude. So, number one, I got to say, I love, obviously, your passion for Jesus. We were just talking about that and everything you're doing. And I know we're going to dive into that. But I guess give everyone a 1-minute rundown about like who you are and what you do.
Absolutely, my man. My name is Moses Heredia, founder and CEO of Global Processing Systems. I'm a son of an immigrant. And actually, I didn't have it like I have it today. So just a quick minute is I was born in poverty. I was born in the fields, pretty much, working as a child. My mom would take me out there and I didn't have a babysitter. And it's been a journey, and I've a lot of struggles and challenges that I came across, and some miracles that happened through my life. That's why I'm a believer as well. So it's brought me to where I'm at today, and I wrote a book, Fields to Fortune, and we can dive into it later, man. But in the short version, that's what got me here.
Yeah. So yeah, I got your book right here, Fields to Fortune. Obviously, people can get it on Amazon and everything, I assume, right?
Yes, Amazon, and also on Barnes & Noble online and Amazon, yeah.
Yeah. So, we'll talk about your upbringing because I think it's really fascinating. I mean, you were telling me you were picking cotton, you're picking bell peppers and all this stuff and doing it for like a really long time. Like you grew up with nothing. And then all of a sudden you get into this payment processing world and, you go build one of the biggest payment processing companies in probably the world.
Yes.
You guys are doing that much. Like it's kind of crazy.
Yes. Yeah, which is pretty crazy, Ryan. So I sit on a couple of advisory boards for the largest processors that process payments. One of them is TSYS Global Payments, right? So I've been fortunate enough to have a dual role and advise these larger processors what they're doing right, what they're doing wrong, and how we can enhance it and be partners. But, like you mentioned, take you back is when I remember as a kid, I didn't have a babysitter. My mom would wrap me up like a burrito and put me in the floor mat of the pickup truck so the heat would go down and turn on the heater. And it was like darks, right? So it was like maybe 5 o'clock in the morning. And she would put the ladies in front of the pickup truck and then the gentlemen in the back camper. And then we would go out to the fields to harvest. Like you mentioned, one of the hardest ones, though, Ryan, was that I'll never forget. And till this day, it's one of the hardest jobs I've ever done was the cucumber, picking cucumber, my man.
Why?
It's let me give you a visual, right? So say, for instance, like me, I was a rookie. At that age, I was 12 or 13 years old, so I didn't know any better. So they're like, hey, now we're going to cucumber. I'm like, all right, cool. We're going to cucumber tomorrow. So imagine this. So there's a bunch of rolls, and each roll, you go about a mile, but there's a big old diesel truck in the center. So you have about 20 guys on the left of the diesel and another 20, let's say, on the left, right? When you, in the morning, you're lined up for 2 buckets, 5-gallon buckets. So they say, okay, go pick a roll. And the truck is never stopped. It keeps moving slowly. So you're hunched over picking these cucumbers, and you got to keep up with the truck. But the hardest thing is going and running to the truck with 2 5-gallon buckets, how heavy that gets throughout the day.
Yeah.
But here's the kicker. So I've always been on commission only, so I didn't know this till recently. Like, I thought about it. Like, they would give me I would say a aluminum chip, right? And once they would dump the bucket, they would put aluminum chip in there, which was a circle, and that was, at the end of the day, you would cash that in, and that was a quarter. So 25 cents per bucket. And I remember one day being there, and after a week, I got smart, so I would go there early so I can be in line and get closer to the truck. And I remember one time there was an old gentleman who was almost in tears, man, because his back was giving out, and he was an immigrant, and, he would send his money back home. I gave him my roll that was closer to him because I was healthier, younger, and I could swap it out with him. But it's crucial. It's real crucial seeing how dedicated these people are and working so hard to put food on every American's table, right, or throughout the world. and sending money back home. So I learned a lot doing that. And I thank my mom to this day, you know, God bless her soul. She passed in 2004. But, you know, that was one of the hardest things I've ever done was a cucumber throughout the day. And what happened, Ryan, at the end, let's say you were in this for 4 hours, 5 hours, a lot of people would just fall off and give up.
Yeah.
So the truck would just have to stop and call it a day because people couldn't keep up and they didn't want to lose all the harvest.
Yeah. So you let the team down.
Yeah.
If you're somebody who just can't keep up with everyone else.
Yeah.
So did you have any brothers or sisters, or it was just you?
No, man. Listen, I have 3 older brothers and an older sister. I'm the baby of the family. I'm the baby of the family.
So were they out there doing it with you, or what was going on?
At the beginning, they were out there with me.
Yeah.
Doing it. But my sister was the princess, you know, she was one baby girl. So my dad definitely and my mom would baby her. So she would stay behind. But she did come out there, but she didn't work and carry on like my mom.
She was in the truck.
Right. Yeah. So I was out there taking orders from my mother because she got it to a point where she was the broker for the contractor for the farmers who own the properties, right?
Right.
So I remember cold calling with her because she didn't speak English at like 5. I was like around 5, 6 years old, going door to door, farm to farm, knocking on doors to see if they needed
get work.
Yeah, to get work for hand. So listen, where I'm at today, I've always been on commission only and cold calling. So I remember cold calling when I was a kid, and you know, people would open the door. And back home, where I was born and raised in West Texas and New Mexico, is like everyone opens the door, you know. Farm hands, we have a crew pretty much. So they're like, "Where's your parents?" And they would look out, and my mom would be in the pickup truck, and then I would translate for her.
Right.
So that's how we got work, man. It's just, old school fashion, door to door, knocking on doors.
Right. Okay. So, you know, you did that from an early age. I mean, you obviously didn't know it was going to be beneficial down the road. But how did you end up getting out of that situation?
You know, I was going to school, and I was born and raised in Hobbs, New Mexico. If anyone knows, back when I was there, the population was probably like 10,000. So there was really nothing to do there, Ryan, but get into trouble. And I mean, school was there, but there was only one high school, one movie theater, and there was a lot of farming. So there was 2 things: either you do crops or you work in the oil fields.
Right.
So I knew there was no future there, and I remember going home and doing my algebra, doing my homework. And after school, I would go and start drinking with my friends. And then I'd go home and try to do my homework. And I know for a fact that God put it in me because I was heading for destruction, man. So I prayed about it. I said, I need to get out of here. I need to, you know, find a future, do something for myself, for my family, and just get out of here because I was getting into fights and doing things that I wasn't supposed to do. And I didn't want to let my mom know. And everything, they worked so hard to come to the United States for their dreams to give us a better life. So I called up my brother one day, and he was already in California. I was like, "Hey, I got to shoot over there. I'll finish school. I'll do whatever. I need to get out of this town." So long story short, I remember working at harvesting cucumbers and buying myself a one-way ticket on the Greyhound. And I showed up just with a backpack, and that was it.
By yourself?
By
How
myself.
old were you?
It so happened it was on my birthday, bro. So I had turned 17. I was 17 that day that I left home. I waved at my mom at the bus stop. It was definitely one of the moments I will never forget, seeing her face and, you know, getting emotional. But I knew I had to do it because my mom didn't know what I was doing, and I didn't want to disappoint her. So I'd rather get out of town and go find a future for myself.
Yeah. So you went off to California.
Went to California, brother.
Searching for gold.
Searching for gold. got a high school diploma, thank God, just by the skin of my teeth. And I was going to go into law enforcement. So I had a small degree on law enforcement, right? So I was going to go do that, you know, live the American dream, get good benefits, get, you know, a good job, yada, yada. So, but my DNA was always into sales, brother. So I needed to survive. So I was on my own right out of high school. And I went to the unemployment office in Pomona off of Holt Street, right? And back in the days in 1994, it wasn't like the web or you can go to job.com. We needed these advertisements, right? So I went there, and there was a bulletin, and the bulletin had a couple of jobs that were being offered. One of them, it was a lot of fast food, right? One of them said telemarketing for a bank. And I'm like, that sounds pretty, something up my alley, something I would like to do.
Yeah.
So grabbed that, talked to the little counselor there, and she said, yeah, they're hiring, went for an interview. So it was telemarketing to set appointments for the sales reps to go out there and close the deals.
For payment processing.
For payment processing.
Got
so
it.
I've been in the same industry ever since.
Right.
And
that was at 17.
Yes.
Okay.
So, well, actually, by that time I was already 18.
Okay.
By that time. So what happened, Ryan, is I went ahead and took the job, did telemarketing. At that time, I was hourly, so I was $4.25 an hour. So then a couple of weeks later, I got promoted to manager, telemarketing manager. So there's about 10 guys that I would oversee. So here's the breakthrough, though. The breakthrough and where God changed my life was that I made an appointment for a gentleman in Simi Island, California, that owned a glass shop, and he actually didn't speak well English. So Spanish was his, he felt more comfortable. So then I go to my manager, the appointment's set, and my manager's like, listen, our corporate office is in Louisville, Kentucky. There's no bilingual agents, so decline the appointment. I'm like, I'm not going to decline the appointment. So I kind of just said, you know what, I'll take it on. I'll do it. He said, no, you know what, you open the office up, you give all the telemarketing leads, you close the office, and you're in charge of this. You're too valuable for me. So then that's when I resigned and said, you know what, I'm going to go into sales. So I sold that deal, made $1,000 that day, and never looked back. That's where my sales career started.
Got it. So then how did it progress from there?
Ryan, so check this out. So being blessed, I started doing very well in 1994. I was in sales only. And this is where I had a life-changing moment again. I was doing very well. 10 months into it, I got in a car accident. I got rear-ended. And it just totaled the car. It threw my back out. So I had on commission only at that time. So you can't go to unemployment or get assistance. And I couldn't call them back home. I couldn't call my dad or my mom. I was like, hey, send me some money. So I was pretty much on my own at that time. And I was just an 18-year-old kid at that time. So what happened was I struggled. So I couldn't afford to pay my light bill. So I would borrow, get an extension cord and run it across my neighbor. And they were kind enough to give me electricity. I couldn't afford to have the trash guy come and pick up my trash. Couldn't pay my bill. What I did is for the beginning, I put it to my neighbor, and the trash guy picked up on that. It's like, okay, this guy's putting his trash cans at the neighbor. Scratch that. We're not going to pick him up. So they would not pick him up, right? Long story short, I also, another thing is I couldn't take warm showers because I wouldn't pay the gas bill. So it was cold showers in the morning. So listen, there was a lot of struggle that went into this, right? So that's where the miracles started happening, where I just prayed to God. I was like, what can I do different? Why did you bring me to California pretty much if this is what I'm living through? So, I mean, I would go to fast food places, Ryan, and take their toilet paper. I couldn't afford it. I would take their napkins. I was struggling pretty bad being on commission only because I needed to get to my clients in order to sell credit card services. So I would take a bike, and back in those days in 94, they didn't have electric bikes, bro. So it was pedaling.
Yeah.
So I'd pedal, I'd take the Metrolink, I would borrow cars. And, you know, it was a big struggle. And I prayed to God, and God gave me enough courage and wisdom to understand and just to stay focused. And I remember buying a little car and getting better. So once I bought a little CRX, silver CRX that just got me from point A to point Z. It was a used one, but I loved it. It was my Rolls Royce at the time. That thing just got me to the next level, and I started making sales again. So I was a top agent in 94. At the end of the day, how that happened, it's only a miracle, man, how I was able to get recognized by the company and start doing well again. So then started paying my bills, started making money. I was a top sales in 95, 96. In the quarter 97 is when the company promoted me to territory manager in 97. So fast forward that, I got promoted to district manager, regional manager. And then after being there 10 years, Ryan, they asked me to go to Louisville, Kentucky, that's where the corporate office was, and to become vice president of sales. That's when I decided, you know what, after being here 10 years, I've learned a lot, I've done well. I have 7 different offices, over 100 employees. I'm like, you know what, my DNA has always been what my mom had taught me, and have been blessed to go ahead and be an entrepreneur. And I've always had in the back of my mind anyway. Yeah. So I turned in the keys, resigned from one day to the next, Ryan. I didn't have an office. I didn't have employees. I didn't have nothing. So I just walked out, and then it just gradually started growing from there. Like I would have my meetings at Mimi's Cafe or Carol's off the freeway. I would meet them, give them the machines. And then finally 3 months after that, I opened an office, and the rest is history, man.
Yeah. So like, during those 10 years, I mean, how much were you making in the different roles? Like by the time you left, like what kind of career were you leaving?
I was okay at 28 years old. I was making about 180,000 at 28 years old. But here's the beauty of it, man. Just to catch you up a little bit, Ryan, is I cashed in my 401k to open my business.
Got it.
So before I cashed in my 401k, that's where another miracle happened, where I went to my CPA before I opened my business. I said, hey, here's what I want to do. Here's my plan. I want to cash in my 401k. And he's like, that's the dumbest idea I've heard. So I'm like, okay, let me go to my accountant who knows me very well and knows all my booking and stuff and where my finances are. He said, yeah, no way. I don't advise that. I'm so against that. Then when I got in a car accident, I met this good friend of mine who's an attorney. I said, you know what? I'm going to go. I didn't tell him that what I was going there for. I said, hey, man, I need to come and see you. I have an appointment. Can I get an appointment? He's like, yeah, swing by. So I gave him my plan all sketched out. And he laughed at me and pushed it back and said, Moses, if your plan is correct, then I'm in the wrong business. And this doesn't make sense. I can't advise you to do it. But my problem was, Ryan, that I was asking the wrong person, bro. I should have been asking God and having a prayer. And that's what I did. So I turned around, did that, and I just opened my company. But to give you an idea, I was making about 180 at that time. And I just walked away because I know that there was more to life.
Yeah, for sure. So you start your own company. You're basically doing the same thing, right? It's just for yourself this time.
Correct. But it's more than that, because I'm giving an opportunity to people like myself that it doesn't matter the color of their skin, doesn't matter if they're educated or if they come from money. It just, if they have what it takes to get to the next level. It's a sales commission only performance job, but at the end of the day, it's a career. I have some agents making north of $70,000 a month in residual because you get paid every time the credit card swipes. So as long as the customer's in business and swiping cards, there's money to be made. So, there's a lot to it. And what I do different than when I work for a large corporation, because at the time it was the second largest processor in the world that I worked for. And what I did different is I opened the doors for anyone. It didn't matter if you were educated. It didn't matter if you had a degree. It didn't matter if you had sales experience. It didn't matter if you, like I said earlier, if you come from wealth or if you're, what color your skin is, man. I gave, and still to this day, there's a lot of people who were less fortunate that didn't have two nickels to rub together, that now in my company, they own multiple homes, they have a family, and they've grown. And they've been with me since I opened the company.
Yeah. How many people do you have in the company now?
50 inside all the time, about 50, and then over 110 nationwide.
Okay. And you guys have like 25,000 customers, right? And basically an agent's job is to go out and just get more customers, and then they get a piece of every transaction that happens. Is
Absolutely.
that kind of the model?
Absolutely. So the model is anyone who has a legit business, obviously, it could be either brick and mortar, it could be gateway, it could be business. It doesn't matter what they sell, right? So as long as it's a business that needs to take any form of payment other than cash, we have the tools and the resources. And our system is so robust. Like we can take Apple Pay. We can let's say, for instance, there's a restaurant that has 3 stories, right? And our developers go in there and diagram and art out the components of where the tables are, what needs to be established so they can take the form of payment. So we have the iPads that go out there, take the payment at the table. So, it's pretty robust. We have mobile stuff. We have things that are even the kiosks. Like some of you that probably are listening that already, you go to an establishment, and it's a kiosk and it's self-serve. So that eliminates the face-to-face contact with people. So we do pretty much anything that's out there that you see or touch or see that takes payments. That's we have our hands on it pretty much.
Now, do you guys? I've always wondered this. Seen the different hardwares and everything else that these stores have. Do you guys give them the hardware too? Because I've seen that one Clover and other stuff. How does all that work?
Yeah, so I'm actually an advisor for the Clover as well. Fifth Server owns Clover, and that's who I do business with as well. So to answer your question, Ryan, yes, Clover is a device that we offer. And we, our techs go there and put the apps on there. So firm or your attorney or you have a hair salon. So we put that special program tailored to your company.
Yeah.
So we offer the POS systems, which is point of sale, and the software, and we help you navigate that into your business checking account.
Same thing with like the things that jack into your phone and all that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, for instance, like that's more of a mobile situation where it's like per se squared. I think everyone's familiar with that. So, but these days, I mean, it's so advanced now that you don't even need that little device. You just tap to pay on your phone and you're out
Phone
the door.
to phone.
Yeah, phone to phone, tap to pay, gone, you're done. So, I mean, the technology is pretty wild. And then AI, as it's coming out, is getting even wilder. So it's kind of cool stuff, man. So I'm always in the technology space as well, which is great because that's the future for us.
Yeah. What do you think is going to happen with payment processing and AI and everything else? Like, how does this change?
It will still have a feel and touch for us, which is great. However, it's going to also change the world and eliminate some personnel. I was just at a convention a couple of months ago, Ryan, and it was bizarre, man. It was really wild. They showed us a presentation that AI will take the customer's phone call, will answer them back, and resolve the issue. And they were taking us through a trial that it was difficult questions like, when is my money in my account? Or why isn't my money in the account? Or when my machine is broken, what do I need to do to fix it? Just like wild, random questions, right? And it was navigating that. So, it'll change us as a country and as a world a lot, Ryan. It'll change the types of personnel, but at the end of the day, we still love, at least for me, I still love that touch and feel from people. It's good stuff to come out. It's going to be a double-edged sword.
Do you think that payment processing will ever change with the fees? Because they've kind of been the same for a long time. Like it's 3%, and you can cut a couple of tenths of a point and whatever. But like, do you see that ever changing?
Well, Ryan, good question, because we have a couple of different platforms that the banks don't offer. So to give you an idea, let's say you own a tire shop, and you get charged 3%. Well, now there's a way that we as our company can modify that where the merchant doesn't pay that anymore. It gets passed down.
Yep.
So the banks don't do that. Like, I would say my competitors are Bank of America, Wells Fargo, those guys. They're like, they don't want to touch that because they don't have the manpower. See, if you really think about it, B of A, Wells Fargo, right? They want your CD, your checking account, your home loan. They got their hands tied up in all kinds of other stuff. We are just laser focused on credit card processing. So we have the manpower and the capacity and the technology to navigate that.
Yeah.
Where they don't. So we have been very instrumental and helpful for a lot of merchants, saving hundreds of thousands of dollars a year because those fees are not generated by us. They're generated by Visa and MasterCard, the card brand. So people don't understand that. Some people are like, why do you charge me this much? Like, excuse me, but it's not us. Let me show you let me educate you in how it works. So Visa, MasterCard, American Express, all those guys, they have their brand fees, right? And they just get passed down to someone like myself because Visa, MasterCard has what's called interchange, right? And they give that to Wells Fargo and Bank of America and Global Processing Systems, which is us, right? So we have the same one. So there's no hidden mirrors. There's no hidden agenda. At the end of the day is we can afford to lower the rates where these guys already are capped. They're like, nope, you can't sell under this. Where we're like, we'll take the customer. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. We don't have their overhead. Those guys do.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So, with that, you're mentioning before, you guys have some pretty big clients. How'd you get big accounts like that?
I remember me being in sales. I mean, I personally got huge accounts, and it was just a lot of door banging, door knocking, being persistent, telephone, cold calling, getting out there. It's about building relationships. Some people think they're too big, or the name brand. Like, we have Toyota, KFC,
Do you have all of them, or just certain locations? How does
Subways.
That work?
So we have they're franchises, let's say.
Yeah.
And then let's say we have X amount of Subways, and another Subway could be with a bank, let's say.
So the franchisees get to choose their payment processor.
100%. And at the end of the day, what we do, Ryan, is we say, okay, you're with ABC company, and then here, let me show you a proposal at no charge with our company, and we show the savings, and they're like scratching their heads like, Nothing changes. Nothing changes. Just you're saving money, or you're passing it on to like, wow, this is a no-brainer. So we educate the customer, which obviously that's not their space. They don't understand it, how the mechanics work. And that's where we come in as more as a consultants. But at the end of the day, yeah, we're in sales, but yet we're selling a service and a product in ourselves in the company, right? But also it's a win-win situation. It's not just a one-sided.
Yeah. And so then your salespeople basically, they go out, prospect, call, door knock, go meet these small business owners. And then they basically just make an override over however many accounts they're able to get.
Absolutely. And, it's about building relationships. So we have a lot of credit unions and a lot of partners that refer us customers. We have associations that refer us clients as well. Let's say, for instance, you open up a pizza shop and you belong to XYZ bank, and they don't have the fundamentals. So we have contracts with the bank that they refer the clients to us, and then we get a hold of the client and then set them all up from A to Z. I'm talking about from installation to training their staff to putting their menu in there. So, I mean, it's pretty robust what we do, and not everyone does that. Like the banks will not do that. I mean, let's say, for instance, you have a credit card machine or a POS system, right? Point of sale clover from the bank. You call that 800 number, and no one from the bank is going to get off their butt to go help you fix that problem.
No.
So exactly. So they're like, oh, call this 800 number and they'll help you. Well, guess what? That 800 number will derail you to another place and yada, yada. By the time someone gets there, that's where they get frustrated, because we're just laser focused on that. So we have feet on the street that'll go out there, replace it, and then handheld the customer.
Got it. Okay. So, I mean, I understand the business. I understand the appeal of a salesperson, right? Because when you sales, it's all one time. It's like, we closed a deal. Cool, I get paid. Now I got to go hunt another deal. I see the appeal of something like this where it's like, well, no, dude, you're going to close. If you can go get 100 accounts, they're going to pay you every month. It kind of gives a salesperson more stability of recurring revenue.
Sure. Absolutely, Ryan. We have a lot of sales people have been in other types of sales, right? And it's not like you sell a car, you get your commission, you leave, or it's not like if you sell a property, you get your commission and leave, right? At the end of the day, unless you own that property, then there's revenue, right? But if you have a customer, and it doesn't matter what type of business it is, as long as they're swiping credit cards, there's recurring revenue every month. And the beauty of it is, if they process any type of card, it doesn't matter if it's Visa, Discover, American Express, ATM, debit, whatever it is. Yeah. So there's a revenue ongoing with that.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, I guess what's the future for you? Because, I mean, you've grown a pretty big company over the last 30 years in the industry. It sounds like you don't have any plans to leave the industry. Like, do you want to sell the company? Do you just going to keep going? Like, what's the plan?
Great question. The plan today is that I get back home with my team, and on the way here, we all had a meeting before we got here, and the team is in agreement that we're still moving forward. We're a young company, we're debt-free, we have a good foundation, and our goal right now is to talk to new entrepreneurs, schools, churches. So I'm getting out there and letting them know about my 4 pillars that I've trademarked, which is God, goals, grind, and global, impact to global. That's what I mean. Like right now, we're involved in a lot of different associations, a lot of giving back to different organizations, even through third world countries and even orphanages. So still going, and I have staff that can take care of the business, Ryan. While right now we're focusing on giving back. Because I remember where I came from. So giving back to churches, giving back to schools. Like I'm scheduled a conference call after I leave here to go back home where I was born and raised to go speak to the children there in the schools. And it's not about the money of the book. And I didn't write the book for the money. It's about educating because some people that are born like I was, and there's still poverty where I was born and raised, they don't know any better, or their parents are not as educated to teach them that there's other life out there, or there's higher things you can accomplish. So my goal is to reach kids, reach the young entrepreneurs, that it doesn't matter where you come from, what walk of life, or the color of your skin, that there is a future out there with, as long as, you keep your head straight, get out of don't get into drugs and alcohol, and be faith related, and there is a higher source. And that's my goal right now, man. That's what I'm doing. So I've been blessed enough to go out and speak about that.
Yeah. So the book, let's talk about that. I got the book right here, Fields to Fortune. I mean, obviously we've talked about your story a bit already, but I mean, like, what's the key message in that book? Like, what are some foundational principles?
There's a blueprint on there of the struggles and how I shifted through my 50 years of experience, let's say, so all my life, and the obstacles that I hit, that it'll navigate someone from a perspective that we're all living, but it's all true life stuff that's happening in there, and how I shifted and navigated that can help someone who is struggling. Like today, we get Instagram DMs and like, you know what, Moses, I read that scripture that you had on your book and how you had that struggle. This helped me get out. If I could reach people and to teach them about the gospel, to teach them about there's a higher source, and to also help them become successful like I did, because I didn't have, my parents were obviously immigrants, right? My mom was from Mexico, and she didn't have the capacity or the education. She had the grind, she had God, she had the goals, but she was not educated enough to help me and navigate me to take me to the next level. And that's part of the book and the journey that I and it circles back to scriptures that are in the Bible.
So would you say it's more of an evangelistic book?
I would say yes. It hit #1 seller for business and also for gospel. So on Amazon, bestseller for those two categories.
Wow.
There's a third one actually because it was for Hispanic business or something. So yeah, it hit bestseller. We were just on the NASDAQ in New York where it advertised that as well, which it's been a blessing to have it, man.
Yeah. How long ago did you release it?
It just got released late May, I believe May 28th. If I'm correct. Okay. Late May, so it just got released.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's awesome. What was it like? I mean, I've written a couple of books. It's no easy feat, especially when you're busy running a business and having a family and a life, and it's not easy.
I can tell you that, Ryan, that it was very difficult because it brings me back to when I was a kid, right? And some of the things you don't want to remember in your struggles, right? So It was very challenging, Ryan, to write it. And especially one of the chapters in there that was very challenging, that, betrayal. There's one in there, betrayal. Because who doesn't get betrayed, right? It was someone that was in my organization that I got betrayed by. And then it also talks about my mom's passing, which it took me to realize and accept it. So, there's a lot of things in there that people can resonate with, that it's real life stuff and how I dealt with it.
Right. So, I mean, to switch gears for a little bit, there's so much that we do in business every day, and that's one thing, right? It's like, at the end of the day, I can only flip so many houses or make so many videos. You can only swipe so many cards. It kind of gets repetitive at the end of the day. Honestly, what gets you excited to wake up and do the same thing for 30 years plus? Because like the most successful people that I've interviewed have always been guys who've like done the same thing over and over again. Like I use him a lot because it's funny, because I was like a little hater, and now I just really respect it. But a guy like Dave Ramsey, who's been doing his radio show for like 30 years straight, just talking about the same thing over and over again. And my mind is like, man, I just can't do it, And so I look at a guy like you who's been doing the same industry for 30 years plus, and I'm like, okay, like how are you able to stay focused doing the same thing over and over again, where I'm like scatterbrained? I like doing a lot of things.
Ryan, that's a great question, man. And I've been asked this before, and I just circle back with what happens in my organization. So when I walk in the office, there's some gospel music playing on the speakers, right? And then every Monday, we have what we call huddle in our office, and we pray. So everyone meets at the conference room. Everyone's invited. However, there's different beliefs, different sources. So we call it a huddle for HR reasons. And we just go there and, we talk about current events. We talk about a little bit about gospel, and then we throw it off with a prayer session on Mondays. And then Fridays we do the same thing at 9:30. So everyone knows we go out there and we do our thing. But you're saying, hey, after so many years, what keeps you going? I think my motivation is God and faith and miracles and prayer, brother. Because I mean, yeah, I attend church on Sundays, but it's not only for the Sunday guy. For me, it's every day, brother. It's living it, preaching it, and talking about it and walking it too. Listen, don't get me wrong. I'm a hard ass at work, and I'm just some people probably call me several names, but at the end of the day, I expect excellence in whatever thing I do. Whether you walk, do it great. You talk, do it great. You dress, do it great. Everything you do in life, and even that goes with my organization and my staff who represents me. So, at the end of the day, I'm a driver. I have a lot of drive, and I just thank God how I do it. Some people ask me, and I just do it because of the success that my employees have. So like I mentioned earlier, there's several stories that I have that people work for me that came from nothing. So my success and my motivation is seeing them grow. Like there's a gentleman that just came to my mind right now that, he knocked on my door and said, what do you do here? And I told him, he's like, hey man, I'm looking for a job. I don't have a job. And he used to wash my cars, right? And I'm like, sure. He used to wash because he would see, he had a little detail shop, and he would pass by my office and see my cars out there and my brother's car. And finally he said, what do you do here? He is one of the top agents in my company now. He's been with me, I would say 14 years. He owns multiple real estate now. Now he's an investor, and he still works for me. And actually on the way here, he called me about an account. And he's bought property, and now he's a investor because he's renting his old house. He needed to sell it. So to me, you say, what keeps you going? Ryan, I have to say that seeing a lot of stories like that in my company, that people that didn't even have an education, didn't even speak English, that now they have their GED, now they have their residence card, now they bought a house. Like I remember another lady that works for me to this day. She's been with me over 22 years because she used to work for me at the other company before I left. She was still there. She didn't have a car. She would take her two little girls by the hand and get on the bus for customers. And seeing those success stories, that reminds me of me, putting that hustle, putting that grind, and giving and opening the opportunity for people. Because where I came from, the second largest processor, those opportunities didn't exist, man. They wouldn't allow those people to come in. They're like, oh, he don't speak proper English, is broken, he can't represent the company. Well, I turned it around. We're like, listen, you can, if you put the grind in and you got the goals and you got God in you, like, we can make this together. So that's what keeps me going, brother, is opening up opportunities where doors were closed for others that they can achieve something. So there's a lot of success stories there that keeps me going, and that's why I do it. I do it for people who are the underdogs and didn't have a chance.
Yeah. What's funny is I see my dad came from the Philippines when he was 17 years old. So I came from an immigrant parent, and I've been fortunate enough to be raised here in the States, and, have had all the privileges of, being a citizen. And it's interesting as I've watched life and hired people, and, I would say I've never made a effort to hire, I don't know, or be diverse or whatever. But you look at our office, it's super, super diverse. But I feel like two cultures in particular are really good about wanting to help their own, like Latinos and Black people. I think that when I look at it, it's they both really do a good job at that. I don't think Filipinos or Asians really do a very good job. I don't think that white people do that good of a job. But I don't know, but I can see the passion, and you're like, yo, dude, I want to help people who were rejected by society, who grew up the way I grew up. You have a passion for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, I can think of someone else that has a felony, brother, and he can't get a job at Walmart. But the felony was when he was just a teenager, I think he was 19 years old, and it's something petty, but yet it's still a felony. So at the end of the day, it's God, we forgive, man. Forgive, forget, and move on. People can start a new chapter in life. You know what I mean? I mean, listen, we're not perfect, man.
Yeah.
And that's what keeps me going, brother.
Yeah. One of my sales guys who's been with me the longest, he's been with me for now 7+ years. I met him in Bible study. He had just come out of prison within the last year. And, he's still here. He's still here selling, making things happen. Still loves Jesus, and it's just been a great friend of mine, and everything else. And it's just to your point. It's funny because when I first hired him, I was still very new in my journey of hiring people. I'd been a solopreneur for a while, but he was just sitting there in Bible study telling me about how like nobody would give him a chance. Like every time somebody pulled up his record, they just turned him down immediately. And I'm like, first off, I don't even know how to pull up someone's record. Like I just hire whoever's got a pulse and ready to work. And he got an opportunity, and he's made the most of life for himself. He's gotten married, had kids, rebuilt his entire life.
Yeah, that speaks a lot about your organization, about yourself, brother. Giving opportunities to people who are less fortunate or that are not as fortunate as others that can do something, right? So you open a lot of doors, and that's why you're blessed, man.
Yeah, it's so funny because now we got a golf YouTube channel, and a couple of my guys on the media team, they're black guys. And they're like, bro, are we supposed to be out here? This is a little bit different. We don't fit in over here. And I'm just like, it didn't even occur to me because I don't have that perspective of the world as I'm brown, but I've never been discriminated against. So I don't know. I just didn't even cross my mind. And I'm like, oh yeah, there's racism in the world, especially on a golf course with a bunch of white people. Okay, I can see how you guys. This might look odd to them. I had these two big black dudes next to me with cameras, and we're going on the golf course. It didn't even cross my mind that this would be a thing.
That's awesome, bro.
Yeah, that's
a funny story. But
then I tell them they're my bodyguards and they're strapped, and it's better let us on the course, dude. But no, I think that's great, and I think at the end of the day, it's there has to be a deeper meaning beyond making money, and I think it's when you were picking fruit and things in the field and, you're busy over here trying to make a life for yourself in California. I mean, if we're being honest, you're probably not too worried about other people. You're worried about not going broke and just figuring it out. And I think we all kind of start that way. I know it did for me. I mean, for me, I was a minor league baseball player. I was making $1,200 a month in baseball. And that was only 7 or 6 months out of the year. So $1,000 a year as a old. And had no money, nothing. And I just had to figure out how to survive. And my parents lost everything during the crash in 2008. And it was all right, well, can't depend on them. Yeah. So what am I going to do? And I just hustled, dude. I didn't even know it was called sales. I just hustled, and I never had a job other than baseball. I just was I'll go flip stuff. I'll just go sell something and figure it out. And, God always provided. Got by, and then new doors open, new opportunities kept opening. And then I got married very young. And so then I had to learn how to be a provider because my wife wasn't working and she was just going to school, racking up, student loans. And, all that to say, it's you just have to figure out how to grind it out and just make some money. And then, fortunately, things started to work out well. And then you can start taking care of other people. Because if you can't even take care of yourself, kind of hard to take care of other people because you're the liability.
100%.
And, eventually was able to, take care of both of our parents and buy them homes and, do all that stuff. And then able to go take care of other people and, impact your employee. You can't impact employees if you don't have a business. You can't impact customers if you don't have a business. It's this progressive impact. And, I see a lot of people who, they have big hearts. So bro, I want to help people. I want to do this. And it's bro, you're the one everyone needs to help. You need to get your act together before you be worrying about all these other people. Let's get you right. Cause you can't help people if you're not right. If you're not living right.
100%, brother. I agree with all that.
Yeah. So, for you guys, you said there's the G's.
God, goals, grind, and global. And what I mean by global, that's the name of the company. But global to me is being more of an impact, make a global impact. Some people don't necessarily have to give money or do something. And listen, just an act of kindness, man. Call a friend, open a door for someone, help someone across the street. Just do something that is going to change or put a smile on someone's face, brother. So the 4 G's is God, goals, grind, and global.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that's just kind of like the mantra. Actually, you know what? The other thing I was thinking about when you said this too was you were like, hey, I hold everyone to high standards in my company, and you know, how they dress, how they talk, how they do all these things, right? And I was thinking about that too, because we call those just core values. And we have core values all over all of our walls, upstairs, downstairs, to remind people of like the standard at this company. And if you can't meet the standard, you're out. Don't matter to me how nice you are. I mean, maybe I'm more cutthroat than most people, but it's like, look, these standards are not hard to meet. So if you can't meet them, it's all good. You're just not a fit here. And, you know, I'm not responsible for paying your bills. I'm not responsible for providing for your family. You are. And if you can't hit these standards, you can't be here. You're not going to represent me that way. You're not going to represent the company that way. And, you know, when I heard you say that, I was like, okay, like, what are your standards? Like, what are the core values? What do people need to do?
You know, when I hire someone personally, or I meet someone that just got hired, I always say, just as long as you don't lie, cheat, or steal in my organization, and don't embarrass yourself or the company. So those are the primary ones. But of course, within time, listen, I've gone to go buy a wardrobe for someone,
Right.
or even give them company stuff or shirts or something. At the end of the day, it's taking care of our own. You
Right.
know, those are minor things that I can fix. That's easy.
Yeah.
Some of the things in the pillars that you can't fix is if they're lying, stealing, or cheating. That you can't fix. It's like you got to.
Yeah.
And your business, Ryan, and I love that you said that, because I believe in that myself. It's like you got to be cutthroat. Some people think, oh, he's cutthroat, he's this, and at your place, what you've done and what you've grown, you have to have that at some point, because otherwise people take advantage of the situation. They'll take your kindness for weakness in a position that we're in. So that's pretty much how I roll, brother. Don't lie, cheat, or steal, and we'll go till the wheels fall off. And everything else, I think we can fix.
How do you balance that? I've struggled with this, but how do you balance that as a Christian, where it's like, oh, well, you know, our mission is to help serve people and to help people out. And so it's like it's this thing of, as a person, I want to serve others and help them. But at the same time, we have our standards. And if you're not getting your job done,
Right. Yeah.
you know,
it's something that I wrestle with, because I wrestle with myself. And then there comes a point in time that I'm like, okay, have I done all the requirements that I needed to as a leader, okay, as a company? Did I provide all the tools and essentials for them to be successful? Yes. Is there anything that I lacked? I check all the boxes, brother. And it's like, you know what? The problem's not me. The problem is you. And I don't cater or focus so much time on them as much as I would someone else who's a high earner, because they're all on commission only, let's say, right, on the sales agents. But I'm not going to waste my time, Ryan, on someone that I take 10 calls a day from, where they're just not. We provided everything that they needed, but then they're just taking time. Some of those people need to be successful somewhere else and not here. It doesn't fit in our box. So yeah, listen, I wrestle with that, because of course, I want to help. But at the end of the day if they're not helping themselves, they're just going to drag you down. So there has to be a time that you just, pull the umbilical cord and cut it off, and you move on.
Yeah.
And help the ones that we're lacking. Because I caught myself, listen, I'm a business too, right? I catch myself like focusing on the wrong project. I'm like, wait a minute, this project has no legs, and I've been working on this for almost a couple of days, where I'm not taking the calls that these guys I'm neglecting, who are my earners who've been here forever. It's like I shift too, because I wrestle with that. I think every business owner, has to somewhat reset at some point. It's like, whoa, what am I doing? Hold on, hold back, because we get caught up in serving, helping, and sometimes we lose that focus, and we need to scale back and reset. So, listen, I go through that myself, Ryan.
Yeah. The conclusion I've come to is, number one, I don't do the hiring or firing anymore. I just let them do it because I'm too soft. So that's number one. Number two, even as you start to read the Bible, you realize there are so many verses about hard work and, the fruits of labor and all these things. And then, even in the church, he talks about how like the able-bodied people need to work. Like they're not meant here to just be supported if they're able to work. And, they're actually a distraction. And it's like, yeah, I mean, this is really what it comes down to. It's like, dude, you're here to work. You're here to earn a fair wage. You're here to do this, and you're going to be treated really well and all these things. But if you can't do those things, like, this isn't a charity, my job isn't to support you and your family if you can't get this thing done. And, like, I've had a lot of employees leave over the years, and we're great friends to this day.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, hey, you know what? It's all good. This isn't for you, but I mean, we can't still be brothers. Can't, like, I wish you the best. Or if somebody else got a better opportunity too, it's like, great, dude, you should take it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'd love to keep you, but I mean, if they're offering you that, awesome.
Same here, Ryan. I mean, I always tell my staff or everyone, it's like, listen, if there's a better opportunity that comes up, I'm not going to hold you back. You have to chase your dreams and your goals and whatever makes you happy. If you're not happy, go find happiness, even if it's not here. Yeah. And I still have great relationships with people who used to work for me that still call me and ask for advice or ask me, hey, what would you do in this situation, Moses? And, we're still open policy where, it wasn't a good fit for them and for their family.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day is we can't always agree on something, that's fine. But we still keep that cordial relationship and the door is open. So, yeah, I still take a lot of calls from my ex-employees.
Yeah. How do you manage a family? Like, how many kids do you guys have?
I have one baby boy who just turned 8 months 2 days ago.
Wow.
Yeah. So
8 months.
I started late, man. It's all about the grind for me. And God blessed me with a baby boy. His name's MJ, is Moses Jr.
Okay.
So, but listen, I love what I do, Ryan. A lot of people ask me, like, Moses, I mean, it's because on the weekends, even I'm out there hustling or out at a business idea or adventure, but it's just what makes me happy. I've never done drugs, right? I've never had an addiction.
Right.
But that's my high, Ryan. Like, when I get off of a call and we make a deal or a sale, or I help someone close a deal, one of my agents, to me, I get this high where, dude, I still get emotional, bro. Like I'm not gonna bullshit you, dude. Like, tears come out of my eyes sometimes, like where we close a deal or we make a big contract or I helped a new agent do something. I just get a high in emotion, man, that I remember that when I was a kid. I was in 94. I was 18 years old, 19, and I would come out of the sale, out of the patient. I was commission only, and I signed the contract, and I would just cry and just thank God. And I'm like, I don't know how I sold that, but I sold that deal, and it's just like, dude, I just owe it to him. So that's my high, brother. That's why I do it. I do it because of the love of God, number one. Number two is, like, I love helping and serving, bro. And that's it. I mean, I've never done anything else to get me high other than that.
Yeah. That's crazy. Like, so you're like a deal junkie, still to this day.
Yeah.
It's funny. I don't know. Like, I keep evaluating myself. Because I'm 36 right now.
You're young, brother.
I know. And I've lived, like, a lot of different careers. I was a baseball player for most of my life. And then I was a real estate guy. And I still do real estate. But then, I became a business guy and a education, social media guy. And now I'm, like, doing this golf thing. And I'm like, huh. Like, and then, like, I look at the deals, and we do deals every week for real estate. We close, deals for the other businesses and whatever the deal is. And I'm like, yeah, it's cool. Like, I look at it, I'm like, it's cool. But, like, I don't personally close deals. So it's like, I've kind of forgot. I don't know. It's weird. I've been struggling with it a lot of just, what does, like, motivate me? That's what I was asking. I'm like, what motivates you to still love the thrill of the deal and everything else? And I'm like, maybe there's something wrong with me. Because most people don't have that problem.
You know what, Ryan? Listen, you're young, bro. I actually thought you were a lot younger, man. You look good for your age, brother. So one thing that ignites me, and I keep the flame boiling in my era, in my day-to-day, brother, is that I still dive in and have meetings with the managers. Let's say I go in there and I sit in the meeting, bro, with the customer service manager.
Yeah.
The technical manager, the operations manager. I'm in there and I'm like, no, that's not how you fix it. You fix it this. So me, dude, I'm in there in the trenches, and sometimes they correct me like, no, we already did that. I'm like, oh, really? Okay, let's try this. So I'm in there just in the bullpen, just going at it with them. And I think that keeps me young. It keeps me energetic. It keeps me thinking So, and I love it. So it's not for everyone, but I go to every different. I mean, in the sales meetings that are hosted by Nicole, I dive into those in the mornings. I block out my sales meeting. I go into the Zoom, and I'm still in there. Sometimes I say a word or two or three. Like I go in there and say a thing. I remember there's a gentleman by the name of Matt, who very man. He's doing great, man. I think he makes about, well, I shouldn't say what he makes because he's probably listening. I don't want to put his business out there.
Yeah.
But let's say that he makes more than some of my attorney friends and more than some of my doctor personal friends, right? And at the end of the day he said something that reminded me of Matthew 7:7, like knock, and the door shall open, seek and you shall find. And I say that. So sometimes I jump in with some crazy idea, but that's what keeps me young, bro. It's like at the end of the day, I know you start diving into these deals or start listening, it'll get your juices flowing, bro. and you'll come up with ideas, and better even ideas or how to skin the cat a different way, brother. So that's what keeps me going, bro. And I love it. It's just, it's in the DNA, it's in the blood, and can't take that away from me. It's like, if it's funny because one of my customers was cutting my hair yesterday, and he's someone that uses our services, and he came in the office and does my hair and beard and whatnot, right? And he's like, hey, are you going to ever retire? Because he goes like, because I never hear you talk about anything like that or vacations. I'm like, listen, man, for me to retire is expired, bro. Like at the end of the day, it's like, it's like I still need my mind, Ryan, to do what.
Yeah, I don't think I'm ever going to retire either. Like I just am going to do lots of different things. That's what I've come to the conclusion of. But I'm curious, like, what does your day look like as a CEO? How much time are you spending in these meetings? How much time are you spending prospecting? Are you still prospecting? How much time are you spending recruiting? Like, there's a lot of hats to fill. Now you're doing media.
Yeah. I'm dabble into all of it, and I'll answer them really quickly. So I get a DM like, hey, Moses, how can I work for your organization, right? So yeah, I'm recruiting, so I'm selling myself, I'm selling the company, I'm selling the values that we have. Number one. Number two is...
Is nationwide or just in Cali?
Yes, nationwide.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're all over the place, and we have representation throughout the country. So then, like on the way here, one of my agents called me. He's like, "Hey, I have this idea, and I have this account. What can we do? I'm thinking this." I said, "Yeah, we can do that, but let's plan B." And I give him another alternative. He's like, "Oh yeah." So my idea sparked something in him. He's like, "Yeah, you know what? I'll try that if my first plan works." So I'm always collaborating with them before they go into the sale, or even after the sale, or how to package the sale.
Right.
So I'm involved in the sales. I'm involved in the meeting. So at the end of the day, Ryan, it's what I'm drive to. It's what I like. It's my high. It's for me. It comes natural because I've been doing this for so long. So to me, it's easy. Like if someone has a problem, not that I'm perfect at everything because I'm not. I rely on my staff, of course, to take the torch and run with it. And I just like to, dabble in there and sprinkle a couple of nuggets and say, hey, we could do it this way, or try this, or put a promotion. Like for instance, my techs department met with the manager yesterday, and she's like, hey man, our installs are down. I'm like, well, what did you change? She goes, well, instead of giving out cash for prizes, I decided just change it and put a ticket in the bucket for each name, and then at the end of the month they'll pull out. So that way it's fair. I'm like, go back to how I originally had it, and don't go the gift card way, go the cash way. And all of a sudden that spikes up. So bro, it's like, I like being in there because, listen, I'm not saying they're bad ideas that they're coming up with, but obviously if you see the needle going the opposite way, then you tweak something. What did you tweak? So I take them back and they answer their own question. I'm like, what did you do? Okay. What did you change?
Yeah.
And why do you think that's happening? So they come to me with the problem, but I let them answer their own problem because there's problems going to always exist. Yeah. So listen, I just dive in and go to each department, and that keeps me young, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I encourage my team to test a lot of things, but it's like, all right, cool, test it. Oh, it didn't work. All right, go back to the control. Go to the thing that did work. All right. You want to test something else? Try something else. But, always know what the baseline is. Yeah. I mean, we're doing that in marketing all the time. Do you guys do any kind of outbound? Or I know you guys do outbound. Do you guys do any inbound marketing at all?
No, not really.
Everything's outbound.
Everything's outbound. I mean, we have feet on the street, and just pretty much feet on the street. I come from old school, brother, just knocking on doors. So,
I wonder how your business would do with inbound. Does anybody do it?
I don't know. I really don't know. I don't. I'm sure you could. Like we could do something, but I don't. I would have to have these guys plugged in. See, here's the thing. A lot of I mean, very few in my industry that work for our organization that like to be in the office inbound just waiting for the call. Like these guys are out. They're hunting.
Yeah,
they're hunters. So
that's the culture.
Yeah, so they're out there hunting, brother. I haven't tried it, and I don't know that I'd want to mess with their formula, because if they're out there hunting and that's what they like, then go be a hunter and don't just wait for a handout.
Yeah. I call my guys order takers because we're the opposite. Call them appointment princesses. They could hear that on the call. I'm like, dude, y'all don't know how good you got it, man. There are people like your guys who are just pure outbound, freaking pounding doors, getting told to F off every other call, you know, doing whatever. I'm like, you guys have all inbound leads. Y'all get organic leads, and people are like, yeah, I really want to work with you guys. Like, what? And all you got to do is just pick up the phone and follow up and do these things that I crack up. But that's why I was curious if you guys ever did it, because, you know, with, I always try to do inbound. Yeah. I've done outbound before, but it's also not my demeanor to do outbound. Sure. I am not going to go pound the pavement. Yeah.
It's not easy, brother.
No, I ain't going to do it. Bro, I'll be like, man, how can I do this? How can I reach 1 million people right here? Yeah. You know, that's my mindset. And it's like, all right. Yeah. Let's make some videos. Let's do some ads. Let's do this.
But you have a gift, Ryan, that other people don't have. So you have a gift in what you establish and what you develop. So, you know, you're blessed in that, where someone like me doesn't have that presence. And I'm old school, like I told you.
I mean, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, you guys been doing it for so long.
Yeah, so that's what I'm accustomed to since I was a child, right? Door banging, bro. Yeah, bro. So I mean, that's all I know, and that's what worked for me. So, like you said, don't, you know, if it's not broken.
How many doors do you think you've knocked?
Oh God, man! I tell you what, it was really funny, bro. Check this out. So I was a territory manager, and this is 1997, and I had a desk just like you're doing right there, and I put my foot up on the desk, and I was a little embarrassed, but it was what it was, right? I was so frugal, and still am to this day, I believe, to my means, is I had holes in my dress shoes. My agents surprised me with a brand new pair of shoes, bro. But to answer your question, is how many doors did I bang? I'll tell you, to my the soles of my feet that were leather wore off, dude. I would just, you know, I mean,
you'd be knocking doors and shoes like that, just in dress shoes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Not those expensive, but like in
right. When I was in sales, yeah, brother, I would go JCPenney. I don't know, JCPenney, Macy's, you know, Mervyn's. I don't know if you guys remember.
Yeah, I remember Mervyn's. Yeah,
bro, I used to shop there, so that's where I used to go get my dress shoes, dude. And I would just put on my dress shoes and start cold calling, you know, door to door.
When you would knock doors, do you just jump into a shopping center and go at it?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I remember being in Arizona, Vegas, just knocking on doors random, dude, and just like, hey, how you doing today? And they're like, well, yes, we're unhappy with our current provider, and our machines always breaks down. And I'd sign them up right then and there, bro. I'd see a grand opening sign, brother. I'd walk in, boom.
If you were going to go knock for a whole day, how many people are you going to sign up that day?
I signed up not one, but I can tell you that I would at least a day get 50 contacts. 50 contacts. And what I mean by 50 contacts?
Most of them are going to happen through the follow-up.
Yeah, absolutely, a follow-up. It's a relationship, because a lot of times, listen, at the end of the day, when you're cold calling, you're not always going to get the owner. You're going to get the gatekeeper. You're going to get one, or especially, you can't go there when the owner is in the cook and he's in the back, or it's lunchtime. So you go hit the mechanic shops or the body shops early in the morning, right? Owner's probably normally there. So you have to find your traits and what you're good at, and make friends with the gatekeeper at the dental offices, at doctor's offices. So one of my best closes was with attorneys. I loved attorneys, bro. Me and attorneys, I don't know why. These guys would not even look at the paperwork,
And they're attorneys.
I mean, they would just sign, like, what do I sign? How much is it? I mean, I had a fleet of attorneys, and one attorney referred me to another one. So I did very well with attorneys and whatnot. But at the end of the day, it's like, listen, you always have to hit the grind and never stop. Yeah. There could be, bro, I've gone weeks, close to months with no sales. I mean, listen, the commission only is not easy, brother. Yeah. Listen, I struggled.
Well, I've been a commission only guy my whole life.
Bro, so
every business owner is commission only. Paying you. Like, you got to go generate business.
Yeah. Nothing comes easy. That's rewarding.
Yeah. I always tell people that. I'm like, Bro, I've never had a salary in my life, like not one.
Yeah.
What does that even mean?
Mhm.
And it's like, yeah, dude, you start a business, it's commission only. You got to go get the business. Nobody pays you unless you bring a customer in the door.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I don't know any other way to live.
No.
But I love it. I love having the opportunity to make whatever you want.
Yeah, well, it looks like you're in a chapter, brother, in your life that you're doing a lot of things. You know, you're doing the golf thing now. I see. Man, I'm. You know, I mentioned this earlier, but not on the podcast. That I just got onto social media about a year ago. But I seen your page where you were building these homes for in Mexico, doing this. I'm like, wow, man. I love this dude. I don't even know him, right? I'm gonna go meet this guy, dude. And it's amazing what you're doing, brother. So I love for my company to help sponsor your stuff, do something together. We can grow together and spread the word together, brother. So I love what you're doing, man. And that thing really touched me because, you know, that's what we're all about. That's what my company's about as well, man. It's giving back. Yeah, dude. I'd love to. And you're doing good things, man. Yeah, we got a lot of builds coming up. We've got just tons of stuff. So love for you to be a part of that. But dude, as we wrap up here, number one, I want to just call people to go out and grab the book on Amazon. We'll link to it down below, Fields to Fortune. So we'll link to that down below. And then if anyone wants to get in touch with you guys about either potentially a career or potentially switching over for payment processing, where do they go? You know, they can go to my website, which is mosesheredia.com, and just fill out a quick form. So we'll get back to someone in my office or myself will get back to you, or shoot me a DM. My Instagram is MosesHeredia_. And, you know, we're very active on it on a daily basis. I have a team that helps me with that. So we'll definitely get back to them. But yeah, man, I would love to, if someone is out there struggling or wants to hear more, I'd love to help, man. Cool. All right, guys, go check my website. We will link to all that down below. And if you enjoyed this episode, make sure you subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.